online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Into another episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians here on AfterBuzz TV. We are talking Vanity Unfair tonight on this wonderful first Sunday night of October. I'm Bobby DeMuro. Francesca Dugan out tonight. She'll be back next week. She's in Northern California on a vacation. Across the, I almost said the hall. Across the table from me, Miss Sterling Cates.
What up?
And Nick Grava.
Hey.
Wah, wah, wah.
Got a lot to talk about today. I guess really not a lot, as much as we have every week on the Kardashians, which, you know,
pretty average amount.
The usual stuff. So hit subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already to AfterBuzz TV. iTunes, you can rate us, review us, do stuff there. You can also follow AfterBuzz on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. And all three of us are our names on Twitter, at Nicholas Grava, at Sterling Cates, at Bobby DeMuro. You guys can tweet us literally right now. We've all got our phones out. I just watched Sterling take 15 minutes to take a selfie.
Yeah,
I still think...
Oh, my gosh.
I thought we did that in confidence, you guys. I don't have to publicly announce myself.
Were you at least happy with your final choice?
You know what? I actually deleted all of them, so I'll have to try again later. Okay, so now you know. You hear it here first.
This is great, Sterling. It's like we've got a real-life Kardashian here in on the show. Before we get started, one other thing. So to keep the lights on here at AfterBuzz, especially in the new studio where we are, we have sponsors and show sponsors and stuff like that who help us out. And one of them is a great new show. We talked about this a couple times. We've been talking about this off-air in the studio.
It's about Nick's life.
Kind of, yes. It is
Am
called...
I the crazy ex? Okay.
It is called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Yeah. It's a new show on the CW. It's going to premiere October 12th, Monday, October 12th at 8, 7 Central on the CW. It's relatable in the sense that we have all done something a little less than, how should we say, something less than making us proud for love, whether it's to get it or retain it. And this is about a girl named Rebecca Bunch who leaves New York, leaves a dream job, goes to West Covina, California, which is not L.A. It's a little further inland. And
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
I don't think that song is on this girl's playlist from what it sounds like.
Ew.
I thought she was going to land in West Covina to that. That's what I thought the show
No,
was gonna
she's
start.
doing anything for love is what it sounds like. It's one of those, it's a crazy ex thing. It's a journey to figure out what she really, really wants and whether she just checks Facebook 100 times a day on her ex, which you may find that. A couple things to note if you're a TV fan or a movie fan. From the writer of The Devil Wears Prada, director of 500 Days of Summer,
Genius.
co-created by internet sensation Rachel Bloom, who you love. USA Today calls it maybe fall's most promising comedy. TV Guide.
Did it say maybe?
Maybe.
It may be falls.
Oh,
3
okay.
words, like may.
Yeah.
TV
I was gonna be
Guide.
like, they better get that right because it is going to be.
You done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
TV Guide calls it insanely entertaining. Critics agree Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is something to sing about. There's a little musical component to it. The trailer right now is on CWTV.com. And again, Monday, October 12th, 8, 7 Central. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Check that out. Let's talk Kardashians today. We got a lot to talk about. I just now realized that we don't have anything on the whiteboard. No topics. It's just a free-for-all. So we have a whiteboard
What are we
in here.
doing here? Oh yeah.
I think we're talking Vanity Unfair. Let's start with, let's just do the big topic first, I think, which is Caitlyn and the girls. Caitlyn,
Yeah.
Kris, Khloe, Kourtney, all that stuff. We saw a lot of scenes, at least a couple scenes tonight that we saw in I Am Kate.
Yeah.
That was frustrating.
Even her offering
was.
Kim a water was in I Am Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Literally,
probably couldn't have been
the
included.
whole thing. They took the footage. None of that was new footage. They didn't have two different crews there that day.
Do they have the same crew though? Do you think work on both shows?
100%.
I didn't think so.
I thought it was the same production company. So I assume.
yeah,
Well, Ryan
yeah.
Seacrest.
Here's my thing about this. I know that we understand reality TV. We understand that a lot of these feuds and controversies are kind of made up. Last week we criticized the Kendall-Kylie riff as being totally made up. I get it. But when you have this feud going on between the two of them, and it's the same production company and the same scenes. This is an important thing. Like Bruce transitioning to Caitlyn is an important cultural moment in American history. But when you have the same production company and the same people doing the same scenes on both shows, and you try to cut it both ways, I Am Kate portrays it one way, Keep It Up with the Kardashians portrays it the other. It's so superficial and created on what should be a really important moment and a valuable moment for families.
I think it's really true, but also I think what's important to see here is what framing does to a clip, because when we saw it on I Am Kate, it was like Kim was coming in, Kim was the bad guy, making all this stuff up, and now we see the before and after via the Kardashian side, and now it looks like Caitlyn is sort of a villain. And I don't know about you guys, I'm leaning more towards, I think Caitlyn was in the wrong.
Yeah. I get that totally, but I kind of had the same takeaway from the I Am Kate just based on this one conversation, because I did think, that a lot of the scenes in I Am Kate, she wasn't listening to a lot of people that were confessing that they were having a hard time dealing with it. Not that they didn't support her, but they, felt this way or they felt that way. And I felt the same way with this clip in Kardashians, that Kim was like, that's what you're doing is wonderful. I'm so glad you can be your authentic self, but you shouldn't put us down along the way. I got that same message from I Am Kate, and I got that tonight as well. But I do that definitely makes sense. And obviously one show is trying to portray one thing and the other one is...
Well, and that's the thing, I'm a little hesitant when Khloe and Kim and Kourtney are so insistent that we don't talk bad about people, we don't go say stuff behind their backs, don't go talk about my mom like this. I get that you're indignant, I understand you're mad, I get that the daughters are going to defend their mom, that makes total sense. As close as Caitlyn is and was to them as a father figure, the biological thing is a little bit different, I get it. But you can't say we don't go talk bad about people and then angle the whole thing on your show about people. Like, to me, it's this. There's three sides to every story, yours, theirs, and the truth. And neither one of these sides is telling the full truth. And I think it's just split the middle. It's somewhere in between.
I agree with you, but I think what the main difference was that I saw was when Kim said that we don't talk about, or Khloe said it, we go to each other's face, basically. And I think that is the truth, because when do you see a big, juicy story come from a Kardashian to another it never would happen. All the real stories they are handling face to face. Everything we get is sort of secondhand stuff. I think Caitlyn going out there and saying these things, she was giving the press real stories, which they're not used to being leaked.
What about on a smaller scale? What about Kim being so critical of Rob last season about tough love with Rob and Khloe shouldn't do this stuff with him? And from our perspective, now Kim could have gone to Rob, and I think she probably did, but from our perspective, it was Kim talking to Khloe.
True.
It was Kim on the show. Rob wasn't there to defend himself, and they kind of not threw him under the bus, but they didn't put him in the best light.
I wonder if that's really true. I do wonder if there's a certain amount of times Rob needs to be mentioned or needs to be brought, and just that's the way they had to handle it, and he was aware and everyone's aware in order to maybe keep up a contract even if he's not in the show.
I don't think Kim, just in my personal opinion, I don't think Kim is saying anything on the show that she's not telling them to their face.
Yeah.
Like even all the Lamar stuff, she's telling Khloe all of that to Khloe's face. Khloe knows how she feels about it, but she's also telling it in her confessionals. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think she's pretty transparent about that. I would hope that she would already have had that conversation with Rob, and now she's like, well, it's kind of my job to tell everyone else.
It's just tough. The conversation with Rob is obviously private, or a conversation with Caitlyn is private. The show is a bully pulpit. You can use the show and millions of people see it, and millions of people talk about it and listen to people talk about it. And you can use that, even if you don't realize it, for a lot more harm than good sometimes, because what you say carries weight with this demographic of people from this many countries. And
it's interesting you bring that up, Bobby, because I think on the comments on YouTube from last week, some of the people were wondering how you felt, about the Kardashians. They felt maybe there was a lot of negativity.
That was an awful transition.
Yeah, Bobby.
Was a good. Wasn't that
Here's the thing. You gotta be.
Thank you. So I didn't think she existed. So.
When you watch the Kardashians, you gotta be a little tongue in cheek.
Oh.
Okay.
That's one. I'm writing it down.
I'm going to see if I can mention another dozen times. No, look, I mean, you take what you deserve what you get in any sense. And the problem with the Kardashians is they have such a visible presence. And now Caitlyn does too. So maybe it's a war of words that doesn't look like one in the press, or maybe they just squash the beef and this is it, and this is all we'll ever hear of it. But like, everybody there is such public figures. So it's tough to say on your show, well, we don't talk bad about people, but here's us on our show saying how we don't talk bad about people, but we still have this problem with them. It's like,
true.
Just because you didn't say it doesn't mean my mind didn't jump there.
Right.
That's the problem.
When you're dealing with such there's almost no, it's not black and white. It's not clear cut. When literally you're just putting your whole life out there, how do you possibly start to censor? Then you ruin the show and you ruin what your brand is for it.
I hate that word.
But also to me, like with this situation in particular, with Caitlyn, I mean, I don't think they're like necessarily like doing a lot of shit talking about Caitlyn. I think they're honestly like, wow, she just said our mom is a Beverly Hills shopper and she wasn't even attracted to her until she realized that she was flawed and had 4 kids or whatever it was.
Like, that's baffling.
Like that, like to read that and you're like, oh, like that was like really rude. And then you just see how they reacted to that. I don't think that they were like, here's the physical evidence. She said this in a Vanity Fair article, and I'm not going to just be okay with it because it's my mom. And it's like, if anyone said anything bad about my mom, and let alone for the whole world to see. And so, I mean, I can't even imagine that. But then they did address it to Caitlyn, and it wasn't anything that wasn't true fact.
Caitlyn's defense, though, was how the print word is?
Ooh.
I'm sorry. You mean your exact word? Because it's not coming from a third. It's not like someone's reporting on a report. You are literally answering a question, and there's probably quotes around it. So
there is quotes around it. And Buzz Bissinger did it. Buzz Bissinger, who wrote Friday Night Lights, the book, which turned into the TV show.
My favorite.
It's interesting. First
I
off,
love Friday Night Lights.
Side note on Buzz Bissinger, he admitted, I don't know if you guys remember in the article, he admitted that he would dress in women's clothing in private himself years ago. And so he felt that he was like uniquely kind of in, not to a transition or anything, but he just had a unique perspective. But Caitlyn, I agree with you on that line about, how the print word is. This was your feature. Vanity Fair is like honored to do this for you. They bring out Annie Leibovitz. They have this big thing. It's going to be a huge windfall for them. Like, this is not hard journalism. This is a soft piece about a serious subject, but it's a soft piece where they're trying to it's public relations at that point. So if you get misquoted there, it's either you got to talk to Buzz Bissinger about something because he might have screwed you,
right?
Or maybe you shouldn't have said what.
That's what Sterling. That's what you said. Yeah.
And I agree with you guys on that.
There's a point where, I mean, and I'm not like saying, because I feel like this is kind of, I have to like walk on eggshells a little bit with it, but even like throughout watching IMK and throughout just, watching tonight's episode with how everyone was responding to it, there were a lot of points that I agree with. Like, there are things you do in life, and yes, you do them, to be yourself, and that's just honest for who you are, but that doesn't mean that you can't consider how it affects other people. Like, I could do something and like it really hurts you guys, but I could be like, screw it. You know what I mean? But like, that's just not fair to not even listen or, empathize with someone who is affected by your actions. Because I mean, that happens every day, and it doesn't matter what the situation is.
Right.
But even like when we saw Chris come on I Am Kate, and when we see Kim go tonight, and we saw that again in I Am Kate, it's just like, you're not even acknowledging that you called Kendall and Kylie distractions. You're not acknowledging that you were married to this person for 25 years. But it's great what you're doing, you know what I mean? But just, you don't have to knock other people down.
That's the thing, is like, nowhere, the fact that she's transitioning and all that, it doesn't, I don't think, take away from the fact that you still treat that doesn't change. Now you can be rude or say anything that could be rude to your family. I still see that as being rude. There's no reason or difference to me.
Well, and I think that's because, and we all saw I Am Kate, and I assume at least most of the people who were watching Kardashians probably saw I Am Kate. The more we learn about Caitlyn, because we didn't know Bruce very well relative to the show, a much smaller part, and it was always kind of a hokey part, like playing with a gadget, or, oh, here's a funny thing, and Chris says this, and whatever.
Yeah.
The more we see of Kate, as serious as what she's doing is, and as strong as it is,
Well, and
as great
as important
as
as, yeah, and as important as it is, especially
Kate
right
can
now.
also be pretty inconsiderate on a personal level. We saw it with Rhonda and Courtney in I Am Kate. We saw the kind of self-centeredness when she went to like HRC in San Francisco, and there were all these transgender women of color telling their stories, and Kate's kind of like making little jokes and little comments and stuff. And it's not disrespectful, but it's self-centered, it's inconsiderate.
Right.
And this is the same tree, a different branch on the same tree, and it's, you separate the idol is a bad word, but you separate the role model idol, the I Am Kate, the Caitlyn persona for what it means for transgender people and transitioning, with the actual person.
Right.
And the person is not always likable. And this is an example of that. And that's okay.
Right.
You don't need to be likable, but I think we're learning more about
Right.
that.
And I mean, I get it. It's like her time to shine, her time to like finally live her authentic life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's awesome. And, you know, and I think that she does have a lot of support from the family. And from what I can tell just on all of these shows that they're doing, covering it, it's like everyone's like, this is great. Like, do what you need to do to be your happiest self. But I mean, you don't have to not acknowledge that we are affected by it.
And family took the high road. All the sisters took the high road. And then to Kate's credit, she took the high road again. There's been no war of words in the media since then.
And there really shouldn't be any sort of like public debate or even as I didn't really like how in the episode Khloe was like, yeah, we have another feud going. Like, doesn't need to be this feud. Just go over there and talk about it.
Khloe wouldn't even go over because she said she didn't want to, you know, for lack of a better put, to, you know, what am I saying? She didn't want to fuel the fire by going over to Caitlyn's when Caitlyn would. And I think that's wrong. I think at least go over, have a face-to-face. Talk it out, get it over with. That's what you're trying to say. Don't talk about it on the show.
And this is why kind of everybody's wrong, because Khloe, you're right, is wrong about that. Caitlyn is also wrong to say, I'm not apologizing until somebody comes over. I understand you need people to come over, and that was a big thing at I Am Kate is, where's my family? These people haven't come over. I get it. But it's kind of petty on both sides to a certain extent. And at some point, you got to let bygones be bygones at that point. Now, all that being said, it's really interesting to see in every family that goes through a transition, that has a person go through a transition, doesn't end up like this. Every family is unique. This is not a blanket generalization story, but it's an interesting case study to say, hey, after a transition, there are these holes in the family that people are trying to figure out, and every family is going to figure them out differently, but it's not smooth sailing.
And I mean, I think it goes without saying that they have a very unique situation, especially just because, you know, half of them or most of them aren't his biological children, but they were raised by him, and then you also have all of, you know, the spotlight that their family's in, and he's famous in his own right, but then he got more famous, especially with our generation, just by being on the show and being on reality TV, because that's kind of like for the past 10 seasons what we've all been seeing. So it's just, I mean, it's just like, it's a crazy phenomenon that is their family. And I know we talked about that last season or the first half of the season. It just kind of blows my mind every time we watch it.
What do we think about the discussions of putting Caitlyn, or what Scott said, putting Caitlyn in the Kim Kardashian Hollywood game?
Well, I think it would make sense if she's going to have everyone else in it. And it just depends on their relationship now. I mean, we haven't really seen on this show what it's like now. We're seeing still stuff that was even before the ESPY. So I'm sure they've come a long way since then.
I think, I agree. I think it's a good idea. I don't like the transitioning part. I don't think, just because of what the game is and it's about growing up and, you know, trying to make it to fame or something like that, I don't see the reason to put that in there. I think having Caitlyn in there, absolutely. I see no reason why you wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have Scott in it, you might as well.
I don't begrudge anybody to make a buck, but the hair... Signs, man. It's signs. When you're talking about all the branding and the public relations stuff and the business side of it, and I know you want to capitalize on opportunities, and Caitlyn's been very forthright about that, saying, this is an opportunity, I'm going to capitalize on it while it's also serious. I get it, but something should make you a little uncertain about stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, you could just see the guy who's like in charge of the video game, and he was like, yes, we need to do this, because he sees just, you know, dollar signs.
He sees dollar signs at the end of that, so why would you not?
God bless America.
when she was doing the interview and she was like, "This is for the Fortune 500 CEOs." I'm like, that audience does not care about what Kim Kardashian has to say about her app.
Listen, I think they absolutely
When
do.
she's making that
don't
much
think.
money off of it, they want to know.
Look, not to get too
How
far
do we
off,
get in on
but
that?
she has
Yeah.
made an empire out of literally nothing and a sex tape with Ray J. Like, how? I would be so interested. And you can say, and she hangs around, and the Kardashians hang around, and they make more and more money, and you look at them and you say, how is this happening? How are they still relevant? How are they arguably more relevant than they've ever been? How are they making how many hundreds of $1 million every year without a product? I know that they have Dash now and all these things, but like,
They are
what
the
they
product.
doing?
That's
They're
the only
They-
product that they're doing.
Right, exactly. And they are able to make all of these other products because of that fame that they did reach. And, you know,
It's a
they
phenomenon.
made
It really
a huge
is a
career
phenomenon.
out of literally.
You
nothing.
asked me earlier, why do I on the show if it seems like I hate it, the YouTube comment thing?
Yeah.
This is why I'm on the show. Because this cultural phenomenon, Stefan and I talked about this. I think you both were
Yeah.
gone. Last
No, I
season,
was
Stefan,
there.
you were there,
Yeah.
and Stefan and I talked about this. This will never happen again.
Yeah.
What you're seeing now will never happen again. If it happens like in 50 years with a different family, it'll look totally different because of technology and whatever. But this will never happen again. This is a cultural phenomenon. Like, strap in and just enjoy it.
They just revealed the Cosmo's like 50th anniversary cover, and on the cover it's all the girls, and it says America's First Family, and I was just like, oh my dear Lord.
It's America's version of the royal family, right?
Yeah,
and you know what?
It really, is.
really is.
It's crazy.
And I know we've had socialites, and you can go back as far as you want, and you can make arguments for even Marilyn Monroe, who had, acting talent of some level. But we've always had socialites and people like this, and it's never been like this.
It is mind-blowing when you when you take a step back from talking about the day-to-day drama and just look at the spectacle that is the Kardashians.
And just how far the reach is, though. Because, that goes into Kanye West and hip-hop music, and then that goes into Lamar and basketball, and, like, just the span of their reach is...
And it doesn't,
incredible.
it doesn't seem like the reach is like generation by generation. Everyone seems to be rolling into it. It doesn't seem like it's one group of people that are growing older and they're losing, because that's what sometimes happens with a lot of big phenomenons like this.
But now
It
you have
doesn't-
Kylie, and you have Kendall,
now you have
and then
Kylie
now you're
that
going to
is-
have Mason.
Exactly.
And it's so crazy.
I wonder what, like, the Mason, the North, how all this is gonna.
I cannot
what
wait to see
their
that show.
place is going to be.
I already wish Mason had his own show. He's my favorite character.
And
Kids
look
are
at the
really cute.
and Sterling, you and I know this very well. Look at the secondary industries that have benefited, not directly but indirectly, from the Kardashians. All the entertainment sites that cover them, all the entertainment shows that cover them. AfterBuzz does a damn Kardashian show and every spin-off. Like, and people watch it. Y'all watch and y'all comment. Like, there's so much interest
we
in
love
these
it.
people.
We love it.
Oh no, I'm
We
not.
host it.
I'm not criticizing. I'm not criticizing anybody for that. I'm just saying that there's so much spin-off discussion around these people,
Yeah.
good or bad. How many comments do we get where people are like, who cares about the Kardashians? They're stupid. Well, that's still an opinion
read the
that you
negativity.
formed because you read
People
something
hate to
about
love
it.
it. They love to love
Exactly,
it.
but they're talking about it at the end of the day. What is gonna? I don't know. Will it ever die out?
No.
Will it ever fade away?
I thought that the thing that would cause it to fade away was Kim's 70-day marriage to Chris Humphries. I thought that was the point where the veil was going to be lifted, and people were like, that was for TV. Fuck these people. And it didn't happen, and then Kanye came. Forget it.
It got
the
swept under the
relationship
rug and
with
no
her
one
and
even remembers
Kanye. I don't know about you guys. This could be. I don't know if you guys could. If anyone agrees with me, or maybe you don't. I think it's. If anyone watches House of Cards, it's a very Claire and what's his name on House of Cards? It looks like a great partnership. They do a great job. They're both
I don't
in
think
it.
anyone disagrees
I just
with that.
don't see like any kind of, maybe that's him keeping it out of, but I've never seen or get any hint of real like what you would see on any other normal relationship. Just
Really?
seems like a perfect partnership.
He's been going after her for years. Like, he's thought highly of her for years.
Okay, but going after her,
Well, no,
what does that mean? Like
but
stepping in the show for an episode, like calling her and keeping her up to date?
Like talking to her and interested in her and stuff. She's talked about how long ago she would talk to Kanye West. He's been interested in her for a long time. Going after, not like attacking or stalking.
No, I know what you. And when you say interested, I just think they might find each other interesting.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
That's just, I don't see the lust, the love, the fire, the spark, the romance. I did it like Bruno on
Get out of control.
whatever that show is. Yeah.
If there's a downfall, I love that we're on this topic, actually, not the show, because this is more interesting than the show. If there's a downfall, I would say Chris's death. She is.
My God, Bobby.
Humans have to die one day. I'm talking about decades from now.
They don't die.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You guys.
Starting to get a little loud.
In 30 years, not next month.
Well,
I think because Chris holds this thing together. So when that happens, I think that is when you see a downfall. Now, Kim's a pretty good businesswoman.
Kim's great.
But Chris holds this thing together and does the details. Kim is like the big business brand, like what can I do? How do I expand my empire? Chris is like the appearances, the details,
I don't know.
the interviews.
I think Chris was, but even like we saw in last week's episode when there was an issue when they were all filming the photo shoot, she sort of has a back seat now in the day-to-day things that are happening.
Do you believe that the Empire's bigger? The Empire's bigger than ever, and she takes a back seat?
I do think she has a team. I think there's a team.
Oh, well, she surely has a team.
I think she really has a lot less of an input, and I really do think.
Really?
Yeah. You can't tell me that she's doing the day-to-day like down and gritty stuff.
No, but she knows everything about it. I think they're portraying it this way because this is a good storyline to be like Chris's favorite is Kim and she doesn't pay attention to me or whatever it is because they've done that. I think she has her hands in everything, and I think it doubled down with her when she did the short-lived talk show and realized that she couldn't hack it. And so she, I think, said to herself, this is an assumption, I don't know, but she might have said to herself, if I make the girls bigger and bigger and bigger, it doesn't matter if I can hack it or not, you won't ignore us. You can't ignore us. And we're there.
Kim was so good when she started off with the interviews. She was sick. She was wearing some sort of leather dress thing. And she was talking, and like every answer, perfect. Not even, you were talking about PR and all, and network training or whatever it was. This girl can do it. I mean, she's so polished. She's so ready. I really think she could step into those shoes.
Listen, you guys have heard the stories and you've seen all the stuff written and stuff. Say what you will about the Kardashians. Every one of them who walks away, everybody who deals with them says they're the nicest, they're punctual, they work hard, they're on time, they know what they're doing. Like, these people, the fame is not an accident, but once they got there,
they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. They don't think they're famous. This is a business, this is a thing, and they're professional about it. Yeah. So say what you will about the product.
Well, even when she was like, I'm so sick, but all of these people put this much work into this, like,
True.
That's where she's getting her money. Like, she knows that that's where it's coming from. So it's like...
This isn't that rock star idea where you're famous, but oh, woe is me, I don't want to be famous. You know, this is, it's
they
calculated.
Want that famous.
It's totally calculated. But everybody comes away saying they're the nicest, they're not jerks, they're not assholes, they're on time, they work hard, they know their stuff. Like, that's, in some circles, depending on what you're talking about, that's the biggest compliment you can get.
Yeah. How about Khloe and Lamar now talking?
How about Khloe and Lamar?
It's weird as hell. I don't know. I never really feel like I was fully briefed on the story of exactly what happened and why everything happened and what. Then they were not talking, then they were talking, then they're divorced, and then he won't sign. I don't get it all. So now that they're talking and I see Kim's reaction, I just sort of side with her because it's weird.
I side against Kim for this reason. Why? I noticed Kim with Khloe and Lamar today is very similar to Kim with Khloe and Rob. So Khloe is the softie. You can always go back to Khloe. No matter how bad you wrong her, she's there, she's caring. And Kim is like black and white. Why would you talk to him again? He did something bad. He's cut off.
I like Kim's mindset.
And I like Khloe's.
Well, here's the thing. She really, put all of her eggs in one basket with Lamar. And that was, that's great because they were in love and maybe they still are. It's hard to say. But when someone, is in a position where he is, had people really close to him pass away, is in a really fragile state in the first place from drugs or whatever it is, depression, that he, kind of succumbed, happened to him when the whole divorce and everything was going on. And so for her to genuinely be concerned that, he might kill himself or he might do this. And she said that. She was like, I don't know if he's going to be alive today. Let me check in on him. And so can you imagine that regret she might feel if she hadn't have kept in touch or didn't call him, and maybe that would have changed things or whatever. So I totally get that part of it, and because she said it tonight that she'll never stop loving or stop caring about him, and I don't think that necessarily means that she has to be with him or whatever. And I guess I get Kim saying it's a lot of energy and like you never really move on. Yeah. But we've seen Khloe move on. She dated French. She's dating James Harden now. Like she's moving on.
I think it's I
think it's okay to check in on someone who's like really vulnerable.
I agree. And I think, too, the other thing you have to think is...
If you're a nice person.
Well, Sterling is. Positive vibes only.
Yeah, good vibes only.
The other thing with Lamar is whatever the allegations were, and the allegations included like drug use, drug addiction, whatever it is, that's a different thing than if Lamar had just coldly said, like, I'm going to go cheat with this girl.
Well, he did cheat on her.
I know he did, but I'm saying, like, the drug addiction is a different corner. It's a different thing. And so from Khloe's perspective, you don't forgive him, or you forgive and don't forget, or whatever you want to say, but you also realize that this is somebody with a sickness who needs help.
Yeah.
And this is somebody who needs compassion right now. Just like Rob needed compassion. Does Rob need tough love? For sure, Kim fills that role. But Rob also probably needed some compassion. Lamar probably needs some compassion. Yeah. Do you date him again? God, I hope not.
Yeah, well, from what we can tell is she's not dating. She said she hadn't seen him in years, like in person, hasn't been around him, anything. They're just keeping in touch through the phone. So it's not like she's going off and doing this secret affair with him. You know what I mean? She's just checking in. So if that's something that makes her happy to do, then she should do it. If that eases her mind a little bit.
As long as she keeps it in check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. But also now I can see when you said compassion, I don't know, and I don't think she knows who he really has around him.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to say, you know what, I'm done. I'm basically just let you deal, let your family deal. You know, I don't know if that he has any of that. So I guess that is true. That just shows her true colors in that she's not going to let someone just sort of dwindle out there alone. I am surprised that they include, since it's not an actual storyline. We don't see Lamar. They're not together. Yeah. It's not going to progress anything. It's something they can really construct into anything that I know of. I'm surprised they include the calls, or even Khloe answers the calls on air or on like taping days.
And we don't even hear Lamar with the subtitles. Yeah. He hasn't even given, or they haven't asked for his, likeness to be used in his voice or whatever.
Well, and it's interesting too that they didn't at the club scene in Vegas, that she left immediately when she heard that he was coming. So it's like she doesn't want to even see him. It's not to the point where, oh my God, I don't want to see him. Like
when she said it in the airplane, I thought that's what it was going to be. I thought it was like, oh, and Lamar's coming, and then suddenly like, oh, he's at the same hotel in the same restaurant at the same time, but it wasn't that. It was sort of more she really was avoiding him.
And then she went and threw Malika across the hotel room.
She's like, I just want to have a normal, like, crazy night in the room. Cut to her like beating the shit out of him.
I know. I was like, oh my God.
What? That's normal. I thought that was what people did.
No.
I'm a little interested, we'll say, that Lamar, with the alleged history and whatever's going on, lives in Vegas, is going to the club. Like that's like those are positions where, like, if any of the stuff is true or whatever, are you putting yourself in the best position to succeed? And maybe he's in Vegas because he has a great support group. I mean, we don't know. Who knows?
But
going to the clubs in Vegas, I mean, we don't know if he goes like every night, but still, it's
even
not
just
the best
once.
environment.
I'm sorry, just once at this point.
Look at
in
Scott.
That stage.
Look at Scott. What Scott has talked about.
In Vegas anymore, pretty much.
I've never been able to.
You're 24.
I can't even do it, Bobby. It's just too much.
Yeah.
But look at
Can't
Scott.
Rage like me.
The very public problems that Scott has gone through and the struggles he's gone through, and he's been open about it. He's like, I can't do it. I can't do it a little bit. When it turns on, it doesn't turn off. Now Lamar could be different for sure, but taking what we know about Scott, it's like, that makes me worried.
It's actually, I like that you brought up Scott right now, because there was, first of all, after him negotiating, doing all this stuff with the game, he was just hanging at the house with Courtney, and I can't help but think, what is it actually like now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just feels like I'm watching everything else is like new information, new footage, I'm up to date, and then I see that and I'm like, this feels like it's an archive footage. I just don't,
it really does.
like, what is actually going on with you two?
I hate to say this, but get all the Scott you possibly can next Sunday, because you'll never see him again.
I know, and now he's dating an 18-year-old, or supposedly dating.
That's crazy to me.
It's crazy.
I mean, we don't know what happened. I mean, we kind of know what happened, but
it just kills me that because like, the one thing about this show is we obviously know what they're doing like every second of every day. So to have to talk about stuff that happened like 18 years ago, I'm just like,
when usually it feels really fresh.
Gonna happen.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't feel fresh when Scott's sitting in the living room and they're like laughing
usually,
with
each other. We usually
it also
agree,
doesn't
and
feel fresh when Khloe doesn't have a boyfriend.
It's tough.
You know what I mean? It's like
these 4 episodes are tough because this summer was a massive Kardashian news summer.
Yeah.
Massive. So even by their standards, like a ton of big stuff. Caitlyn, and then like the flood, like Scott, all this.
Do you think like Scott, Courtney has any sort of, or the Kardashians have any sort of NDAs on anything of, like Scott is really in the inner circle, but I can't imagine that they have zero protection on what people can and cannot say outside of their show, their things, their brand. I don't know, but would you think that would be something?
Yeah,
they
all
would
of
have?
their hair and makeup people have like crazy.
They do.
NDAs,
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I.
This is how you build an empire. They didn't come here by accident.
Right.
They didn't come here because they were,
True.
the best.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they know what they're
people
doing
on that shit.
Yeah, I think so. Because it would have unraveled by now. 10
Yeah.
television seasons, all these spin-offs. How many years has it been in the public eye? 7, 8, 9 years in the public eye in total. It would have unraveled by now. It's amazing.
True.
It's amazing. I'm telling you, it is an anthropological experiment. There is a baby being born right now today that in 40 years will be a PhD at the University of California, and they will do a massive, archival anthropological study on the Kardashian family and fame.
Hey, maybe we'll be in it, guys.
You think we will? You think they'll pull some
And
clips
then
from
there
here?
was a staff
From the
show.
real insight?
You never know. This will be like a documentary, and
Yeah.
our clip right now will go
Yeah.
on the...
Wow.
Well, hey, guys.
We're famous in 40 years!
Where will I be?
We made it!
Why do they all use Blackberries? I'm so confused with that. Do you guys know?
I
or
assume
ever
it's
think
a, I
about
assume
it?
it's a
They have
business
multiple
thing.
phones.
They do, but I assume it's a business thing.
Like, who the hell's using Blackberries these days?
It's got to be business. It's got to be business, or for them, maybe
Sometimes
they're...
it's easier to type on this.
It could be, and I also don't know much about Blackberries. Is it security? Do they feel like they're more secure?
I thought maybe it's more like encrypted or harder to
I
hack.
feel like most business people have a BlackBerry and then they have like an iPhone for their like.
I feel like that
normal
was
life.
in like 2010. Now
Yeah.
it's like
It's 2015.
I haven't seen the BlackBerry anymore. Makes me want one though. I loved my BlackBerry.
That's why they're doing it, because they're getting paid, and then you go
Want
buy a
it.
Blackberry.
Oh damn.
I also want one of those water things that.
Yeah, I
Chloe
want
had.
the water infusions.
And the phone case
like a
with the
tropical
light.
vacation. Kim
Did you get the
said.
phone case? Did you text us
I'm
about
gonna-
this?
Yeah,
I'm gonna order
Lumi
it.
makes
How much does it cost?
$49.95.
That's really not even bad.
That's not as bad as I thought it was.
Shouldn't they sponsor us and just send us some to use on the show?
Yeah,
I
if
feel
you
like
guys
they
want to
should.
send us some,
Yeah.
I'll try it out and then
same
let
here.
you guys know what I think.
Give an honest opinion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you
I would have to take 18 million Snapchat
Yeah, of
selfies
course.
and not get a single one.
No, if you had the right light, you would be able to get the
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's go to news and
That's what it is.
gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Got two things for you guys today. Feel free to share anything you guys would like.
Love to.
I tried. It's tough finding Kardashian news because there's so much of it. It's like, what do you use? We could be talking all day about this.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. So the 20th anniversary of the O.J. Simpson, the court case. I believe the acquittal was 20 years ago, October 1st, I want to
wow.
say. Mm-hmm. I think it was the acquittal. There was an anniversary
me.
that just came out. It wasn't the car chase. That was June 17, 1994. Very famous car chase.
Of course.
By the way, there's a wonderful documentary called June 17th, 1994. I wholeheartedly recommend it. It is kind of a sports doc about some sports stuff, but it is centered around... Watch it, I'm serious. It's centered around the car chase. It's fascinating.
You had me till sports.
You would like it. I think you would really
okay,
like it.
I'll check it out.
Okay.
Really low down.
20-year anniversary of the O.J. court case, and an interview came out with Lawrence Schiller, who was, I guess, an author about the Simpson suicide tape. So we're learning how O.J. and Robert Kardashian, how close they were. We know they were friends. Robert Kardashian was one of his lawyers. Apparently, O.J. nearly killed himself in Kim's bedroom in
I hadn't seen
1994.
that just now.
Wow.
The quote from Schiller, then O.J. said, quote, "I'm going to kill myself in this room." And I said, this is Robert Kardashian speaking, "You can't. This is my daughter's bedroom. My little girl Kim sleeps here. I can't have my little girl in this bedroom. And every time I come in here, I'm going to see your body lying here. You can't do that." O.J. was writing a suicide
So
note.
these are tapes that were.
These are interviews. I guess Schiller did interviews with Robert Kardashian.
Gotcha.
And then wrote a book, is an author. And these are tapes from what Robert Kardashian remembers from June 17, 1994, from that day, saying that O.J. came, he had a suicide note, he had pictures of his family, he had pictures of Nicole, he was ready to kill himself, and obviously that didn't happen. Robert Kardashian was also the one, you guys remember, but was also the one who read the note to the police. He had all the stuff at the press conference. Robert Kardashian was the one who came in at the press conference. Obviously, very famous with them. The other one, a little more lighthearted.
That's pretty crazy. I want to watch that.
I can't wait to see the actual movie they're making about
Yeah.
it all. David
That's-
Schwimmer's playing Robert Kardashian.
That's
right?
one of the more.
I know. Yeah, that's
That's what I'm
crazy.
excited about.
That's one of the more interesting things is you forget with this family, with all that's happened and
Yes.
they've done, the OJ connection is
Yeah.
weird, and now it's creepy because of the
Yeah.
OJ thing, but it's just the whole thing. Whew. They are connected in this city. Chris and Khloe are not going to be charged over this little fireworks debacle they had a couple months ago. I don't know if you guys remember that. Took a boat way out into the ocean, set off a ton of fireworks. Neighbors, closest homes near the beach got mad. They wanted to charge them with disturbing the peace and all this sort of stuff. LA County Sheriff said no. The district attorney said there were no charges. There's no rule on the books. They had, quote, passive permission. I don't know what that means, or if that's just like celebrities can do what they want.
Yeah, exactly.
The neighbors are still looking to do a civil suit.
Oh, they gotta really. That's not disturbing their life more than the fireworks.
I know.
It's like
fireworks for a night.
Honestly, and then you spend weeks trying to get into the spotlight.
Listen,
Speaking of not being charged, Caitlyn
doesn't
is not
get
being charged for the.
And speaking of civil suits, there's civil suits coming. She's going to be slapped with a lot of civil suits. This is what happens in crashes like this. She's going to get, 3-4 civil suits. Different sides of the victim's family had like different siblings who were going to sue. The victim had a weird relationship with her kids. Then there's other people in the crash who were injured and stuff. There's a couple other cars involved. She's going to get slapped with a lot of civil suits.
The judge or whatever said that, she could have stopped sooner, but it wasn't enough for a manslaughter charge.
Yeah. You got to cross the threshold for that, and she didn't. It's really sad, but
that's terrifying.
It
really is like scary. It just, as a driver, anyone who's on the road, like something that this can happen. How you even if you're not charged, anything like that, that's something she's gonna carry with her. All the time.
Yeah, 100%. It's terrible, and it's the PCH, man, the Pacific Coast Highway. We drive on it all the time.
I don't.
That is the most dangerous damn road.
It really is.
It is.
People
awful.
bike on it still. It baffles
it's very
me.
Stop and go, which especially on that Santa Monica Malibu stretch.
Yeah. There is a documentary coming out, PCH, called Probably Cause Harm, which is really dark. But it's a guy whose daughter was killed on the PCH. And he is producing a documentary and had a Kickstarter up and everything. And that's a scary. If you've never been to LA, if you never drove the PCH, it's this romanticized. You're on the ocean.
It's beautiful.
It's a great view up
but
the
people
whole
get
coast.
distracted looking at the ocean.
When you get north of Santa Barbara, it's like you're going to San Luis Obispo. It's totally different. It's not nobody's there. Like it's a cool drive. It's whatever. But between Malibu and Santa Monica, holy crap!
Yeah,
it's dangerous as hell
at all costs.
And you don't go anywhere either because if it's not dangerous, it's packed.
Right.
But anyways, LA.
That's a traffic update for you. Here at AFTERBUZZ.
Little LA knowledge for you guys. Predictions. I don't know how we do predictions. What are we going to see next week on the show?
I want to see some real stuff happen with Scott. I want to see them not joking around on the couch, and I want to see.
It's I think next week is when we're going to start to see it. Also, I'm excited. Not excited. I'm anxious to see what Chris. Because we didn't hear from her that whole time, and now getting to see what she was actually doing, for me, that's one of the storylines that really has me in this season, this 4-episode event, is hers. Because I really think, yes, Caitlyn's going through a lot. We've seen that. We see it. But I think Chris, she's really in unscripted grounds. She had no clue this was going to happen. She doesn't know how to act. There's no one at past events that she can look to, really. She is in uncharted water, and I don't know that she knows how to handle it.
Yeah.
But is there there's no right or wrong way to handle it. So
I wish we could watch the show live. You know?
Basically,
what's happening right now
in their yard.
Yeah.
Just peeping through the
Quick,
window.
I'll give you guys a prediction question.
Okay.
Dash Dolls.
Okay.
Is Dash Dolls going to survive? Kardashians came back for 4 episodes for Dash Dolls to preempt it. Is Dash Dolls going to survive?
The fact that it's weird. Has anything not survived Kardashian?
Well, every spinoff kind of gets one season, but then they go to the next spinoff, so it's tough to say.
I watched a little bit of Dash Dolls, and I just couldn't really get into it because it felt so. That girl, the blonde girl that was really pale.
I know
and
exactly
had
what you're talking about.
Weird teeth, kind of. Sorry, that was mean. That's the meanest.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But she was on Kardashians last season or whatever. It was
stuff,
like,
right?
Wait, was it a famous person's
daughter who they wanted to give her something to do or whatever?
Yep.
Well, now she's one of the Dash Dolls. And she I don't know. It was just really weird because it's obviously something. It just felt really forced.
Does it all feel fake?
And
if even faker than this
they
stuff.
They follow these girls around and they're like, "Oh yeah, my boyfriend cheated on me and all this stuff." And I'm like, okay.
See, here's the thing: we're watching people who have defined what they think reality television stars are, and then they're trying to be that. Like when I watch Rich Kids of Beverly Hills, I've seen that before, and it's honestly painful for me to watch. because they're trying to be something. Whereas I think the Kardashians are just being the Kardashians. These Dash dolls are like, we want to be the Kardashians, so let me now act how I should.
Yeah, in the episode I watched, it was like Malika and Khadijah.
I like them.
It was like their struggle of being twins.
Oh, for the love
tough.
of God. No. Drop the pen.
And
Move
like
on.
Malika wanted to do a
Wrap
nude.
this shit up.
Malika wanted to do a nude shoot, and the Khadijah, I think that's her name, didn't because she has family and like all this stuff. But I was
First
just
world
like,
problems.
If Malika's nude, then like basically it's like everyone sees the twin nude too.
Yeah, that's
you know?
right.
So
That's
you
a good
gotta
point.
really get dual.
might as well do it at that point.
Yeah.
Interesting. You make an interesting point about seeing reality and then creating it. I like that.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah.
It's very nice of you to say
That was smart. I'm going to take credit for that tomorrow.
You probably will.
I had something else to say about Dash dolls and I forgot it, so
Great.
it doesn't matter.
Must have been good.
No, it wasn't. Let's wrap. That's it this week. We'll be back next Sunday, I believe, for the last of this 4-part Kardashian miniseries episode, whatever.
What a tease.
Before we leave, Nick, I believe you are on social media. Where do you want people to tweet you?
You guys can find me at Nicholas Grava, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates.
You say that the same way every time.
Yep.
At Sterling
At
Cates.
Sterling Cates.
I'm on.
Not Shirley
Makes me
Katz.
want to go fall. Makes me want to go. You know.
I'm on
Gets
Twitter
me.
at Bobby DeMuro. I'm on Instagram. I have Instagram. I never use it.
Don't
at
follow on
Mr.
Instagram.
Bobby DeMuro. Don't follow me on that. That's it this week, guys. Tweet us, comment. I can't wait to hear all the wonderful comments on
You
YouTube.
were good. I bet they're gonna be. You were good today.
No,
you were
man.
so
I'm
positive.
terrible every week. Please say horrible things about me. Say nice things about them. We'll see you next Sunday for more Kardashians. Goodbye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.